Okay.
Okay. Hi, Gigi. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation to this interview. So first, I will share my screen with you in order to see the informed consent. Okay. So this interview is about broadening the notion of sustainability. And a story map. I would like to collect data from different countries worldwide in order to show different notions about sustainability. I will collect data from Canada, from Colombia, from the Netherlands, from Africa, from Australia, and from Mongolia. I would like to develop this story map in order to raise awareness about the notion of sustainability, because around the world we have different ideas about this concept. I am developing, this story map for the course Theory in Sociocultural Anthropology at Purdue University. So I would like to request your permission in order to share your knowledge and your ideas about sustainability from your community in Mongolia. May you say to us if you agree with sharing your knowledge with us?
Of course, yeah. I would love to share my community's knowledge and notion about sustainability.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this is the interview protocol. And okay, first I would like to begin with general information about the interviewee. May you share with us your name, your profession, and main activities, please?
Okay. Okay, thank you. I am Munkhjin Tserennasmid. I'm from Mongolia and I'm doing Master of Public Affairs, concentrating on sustainability, sustainable development, and public management at O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs in Indiana University.
Okay, thank you very much. And your undergrad program is in what field?
Yes, I've did my undergrad in journalism. Yeah, and I worked for media sector and development projects and programs for the last 5 years.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. May you share with us some general background information about your community in Mongolia, please?
Yes, of course. So I'm a representative of the smallest ethnic minority group in Mongolia, called Tuvan. So we're historically we have been living in that western Altai Mountains ranges for hundreds of centuries, from in the 13th century, and we comprised 0.1% of the total Mongolian population, and in that region we comprise, in our province, the Kazakh Muslim-dominated region. So we comprise almost 2% of the total population. So we have a unique language and culture and religion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting. So we can move on to the questions about sustainability and sustainability transitions. What does sustainability mean in your community in Mongolia?
Okay, that's very beautiful question. And when it comes to sustainability, there is no specifically designed word. There is no word exists like explaining sustainability, but sustainability is, part of our life. We cannot separate ourselves from the concept of sustainability, because the tradition, the religion, the culture we live within is sustainable culture, because even though there's no specific terminology designed for the notion, but the way we practice is very sustainable. And for example, you know, the main philosophy that our community people carry is, you know, to live harmony with nature. Purpose of life is to, you know, in order to live a good life, you have to live with harmony with nature, because the Tingrism, the religion we practice is teaches us, you know, human being is not separate from all those natural surroundings, all those things, you know. Everything has its souls, and so to be so we have to respect the nature and nature surroundings, and we shouldn't exploit it. So, and in my community, we have 4 very different seasons: winter, very harsh cold winter, summer, and spring, and autumn. So we migrate, you know, following the 4 seasons. So to, you know, the following our animals. So pasture, we call it pastorals. So the main economic income source income is their animals. We have 5 livestock: horse, camel, cow, goat, sheep. So we basically migrate seasonally to look for the greenery and, you know, following water availability, like that. So so yeah, so this life practice gives, you know, gives the land, you know, for example, like you're not exploiting the particular region, particular land for year round for several years, you know, you're living only one region within 3 months, and then you move in other places. So giving, you know, the pasture lands, you know, give time to grow new food, grow new grasses. So it's like you're not exploiting in places like years after years, you know, you're giving space, giving time, and then, like, you know, and for example, so to be able to live that nomadic life, we have to live very minimalist life, you know. We cannot purchase a lot of things because it's hard to, you know, move, right? 4 times in a year. And that's why we Mongolians and in my community, we live in not me, but we're living in the city. So in my community, people live in the yurt. We call it like a portable house. You know, there's no, you know, it's like a, I'm not familiar with the inches, but, you know, it's like it's a small, I can send you the pictures. So it's a small round shaped felt house. So everything is made from the, you know, animals products. So it's very eco. So you can so it doesn't, we don't in order to make that house, we don't exploit the nature. So it's a very eco-friendly house. And yeah, and also another practice that is very sustainable, that is very environmentally friendly is, you know, nomadic people, we don't use coal, you know, the fossil fuels as a, you know, to heat the house. We use cow dungs, and we can't cut the living trees. We only use the, you know, the dead trees, you know, already fell down trees, something like that. So we generate less CO2 emission to the atmosphere. So that the practices, you know, and they're giving time to grass to grow, you know, it also, you know, absorbs the CO2 emission, you know, yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting practice. So, does your community have or use the concept, the word sustainability, or the community have other notions, words in order to name this category of sustainability?
Like when I try to, it's like a new terminology, since we signed the Paris Agreement, the concept of sustainability, we started adopting the concept. But when I if I talk about our daily life, how we practice the sustainability, you can name it whatever way you want, but the thing is still the same, right? For example, it's still water. You can add some additivities and flavors, and then you can sell it in a different way, but it's still the same water. The thing is the content itself, right? So I think it derived from our religion, so the Tingrism. So now it might be kind of hard to understand and digest, but I try to explain with like simplistic language and with my limited experience and exposure to English language.
Okay.
So so you asked about the sustainability concept, the language, right? Oh yeah, concept, not the language, of the concept of sustainability. So it's directly derived from our philosophy we have been following for centuries, and the religion we're practicing. So the Tingrism was the main religion we have been practicing, and the role is you're not above all the species. You are part of the nature itself. So it's like the human's relationship with nature has to be harmony. So it personifies natural surroundings, and the God. We don't have any like compared to constructed religions, like there is no specific gods, but we worship for the blue sky, Mother Earth, the mountains, rivers, because we believe the river, for example, the water has its own souls and spirits. Mountains has also its own souls, spirits, and God, the blue sky is seeing us from the above, and Mother Earth, it's giving us, all those the foods, and providing the everything that we rely on to eating and living, the producing. So so we have to respect all those things in order to live decent life.
Okay.
So you're not a separate species. You're part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You are embedded in those tissues. Yeah. Okay. So, but the community of people in the community use the word sustainability or not? Or they only practice sustainability, as you say?
Practice without, you can label it whichever way you want, but we don't have any, specifically, tailored words we call sustainability. But you don't have to
name.
You don't have to box it. Yeah, name knowledge, it does not exist. But for example, yeah, we practice it on a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The natural love. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Love of the nature. Yeah.
So, would you say that in your community there is a deep relationship between religion and sustainability in the daily life? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is your community trying to reimagine the social tissues in order to transition or to boost sustainability. What do you think?
This remedies and social tissues to boost transition toward. What do you, I'm sorry, can you elaborate more like about social tissue? What do you mean by social tissue?
Yeah, the context where the community live. That is to say, the community is trying to imagine new societies in order to boost sustainability.
Like forming their, community, form,
Yeah, they are
boundary.
reimagining the society in order to boost sustainability.
Unfortunately, I would say no.
Mhm.
Yeah, as far as I know, because I no longer live in that community, but I grown and raised up, like I lived there like 17, 18 years. So as far as I know, and I grew up with my grandparents raised by, and then I more exposed to this culture and philosophy and exercise of those teachings, knowledge. So as far as I know, and they are not reimagining, redesigning something new to boost sustainability. But what we try to is we try to pass the knowledge to next generations. So it's not very new something. We have to revive it, preserve it, preserve the immune system of the society, how we treat to nature.
Mm,
What
Very
you know what I mean?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a matter of keeping what we
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not creating something very new. There is no new things. The new thing is, the something forgotten and not like many years ago. And then you try to name it differently. You try to label it differently, but there's still the context, the essence is the already existing things, right?
Yeah, the same happened in my community in Colombia. They don't try to imagine new things. They try to recover their ancestralities, yeah, their histories and keeping them. That is very interesting. Okay, yeah. Is your community developing specific grassroots innovations in order to boost sustainability? And if so, may you share with us some impactful for you examples of their endeavors? I mean, if they are creating, I don't know, new kind of technologies or processes, or for example, what you said, sustainable homes, for example, that is a specific innovation. May you share with us other innovations from the community in order to boost sustainability?
Okay. I'm not very sure if it is called, innovations, but it's traditional knowledge, but people make it, redesign, um, make it more accessible for everyone, promote it in a different way, sugarcoat it in a different way, something already existing. And for example, well, as I mentioned that the fuel, right, we use for, making heating homes and making foods and something like that. So in the countryside, I'm not talking about the people living in the town. I'm talking about the nomadic people, herders. They use the cow dung, dry it, and then use it. And then how do I say, because I don't think the terminology does not exist in English language, but when you especially in winter side, you keep animals in a shelter, and then the animals, the waste of the animals, like where it is compress it, and then with the soil, you know, and then we collect it, and then we use it like a coal instead of, you know, instead of fossil fuel. It's the kind of format, you know, the dungs, you know, the manure of the cows and manure of the sheep, all those combined. It can, with the rainwater and with the soil, it creates, it forms new type of fuel. So we use it, so it can keep house warmer in more longer when compared to, you know, the fresh, compared to just dried manure. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Can you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. Of
And
course.
yeah, and another thing is, you know, especially people in the countryside, the nomadics, we don't use, you know, the centrally connected central electricity. We're not connected. The people are not connected to the central system, heating system, and, you know, the they don't use the electricity from the, you know, coal-fired power plants. So they produce their own electricity. They use, you know, the solar panels on their roof, and they round, you know, like so if you see them movies from, you know, the North Pole, or, you know, Atlanta, you see, you know, like the what is called, you know, ice, the round shaped ice houses, goggles, or yeah, it's like the same, the shape is the same, and then we install it's portable again. So we install the so you can, you know, if it's raining, you can bring it to home, and then, you know, it's portable. So the solar panels, we use solar panels, and, you know, you collect the sunlight and then use it in the evening. Yeah, so they generate
Okay.
their own electricity. So we're not, you know, they don't use the modern technology. The way they live is, you know, like a traditional way, but still they try to adopt new technology, the already existing new technology to their everyday life, you know.
Okay, very interesting. And what about to leave the doors open in the homes in order
Okay,
to allow the access to others, no? And
yeah,
uh, leave
yeah.
food.
The philosophy behind is, you know, give the, you know, tea to thirsty, give the food to who are hungry. So it's because of the part of our culture, not only in Tuvan minority, but the whole Mongolian Mongolians. They have this kind of traditions. For example, it's because, you know, we're the most sparsely populated country in the world. You know, in a big land, we only have just over 3 million population. So half of the population lives in the capital city where I am from, and rest of the 1.5 million population lives in this big area. So, you know, in 1 kilometer, you only in Mongolia, like per population, we have like 1.6 kilometer space. So it's very it's not very common that you see in the countryside, in other family and other people passing by. So that's why they are very hospitable. They are, you know, eager to host people to their place, and, you know, in order to, you know, exchange the information, what's happening outside of the world, you know, outside of their community, outside of the out of the region, province, what's happening out of the Mongolia. So in order to get the information and, you know, help the people, so that's why they are, you know, willing to connect to the people. That's the way they connect to the people, make friends. That's why they leave the house open. And, you know, as I earlier mentioned, we're our culture is like very minimalist, so we live content with what we have. We don't buy excess, you know, modern day luxury, like the precious things. So you don't have to worry about you know, what if, you know, if my stuff gets stolen? You don't have to worry about that. There's a like chest box, something like that. So you put like, if you're like a documents, important documents, and if you have some precious things, you can put there and then lock it. And then otherwise, everything is, you know, open. So they don't worry about losing or their things get stolen. So they make new tea when they go to, you know, hurt their animals. They leave the house open and make teas and, you know, make foods, and everything is accessible. And whether you know, so let's say you and I were tourists, whether you know the family or do not, you can enter the house and eat their foods and drink their teas, and then get some rest and then leave the house. Yeah,
Very
whether
interesting.
they are in the house or not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In your opinion, what are the main achievements and challenges of for your community in order to promote sustainability?
That's an interesting question. I've never thought about it. Achievement, you said achievement, right? Let me see. I don't know about the chances.
Okay, but actually, all what you have said are achievements, of
Yeah.
course, deep
Okay.
achievements. I think
Yeah, I would say in being able to adopt those new technologies
Mm,
to ease their life, right? Because it's
mm,
very harsh condition. Can you imagine minus 40
mm,
Celsius degree? They herd animals like 45 in the outside. So the harsh climate is the biggest barriers for those
mm, mm.
herders. So, you know, like let's say the being able to access to the forecast, you know, being able to watch TVs and access to the internet, you know, to be able to access the internet, they go like you know, hundreds kilometers to access the internet, talk to your children in the town. So the achievement, I would say, is the network, you know, with the help of those technology advancement. So they are, you know, I would say this kind of inclusive policy, not policy, inclusive like development approach. They try not to leave those herders behind. So seeing them as a, you know, consumers. So they can use the modern days technology. In the past, it wasn't that much accessible for them. So nowadays, like whether you are rich or poor, you can, you know, have an access to everything.
Yeah, I see regarding what you are saying that one of the main achievement is to harness modern technologies without damaging
Yeah,
worldviews. Exactly.
yeah,
Oh, very interesting.
you can
Very
say
interesting.
that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, because for example, that is a main concern in different
Mm-hmm.
indigenous communities worldwide. How to
Mm-hmm.
use, how to take advantage of modern
Mm-hmm.
technologies without disturbing or damaging our
Mm-hmm.
ancestral worldviews. That is a main challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very
Mm-hmm.
interesting that in your community, people can harness those modern technologies without disrupting the worldviews or
Mm-hmm.
cosmologies. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what do you think about challenges? What are the main challenges in your community in order to boost sustainability?
Okay, the first and foremost, you know, Mongolia is a rich in natural resources. Like we have a rich coal, you know, yeah, coal minings, copper, gold, you know,
Mhm.
uranium. etc. So there's a lot of foreign companies, using cheap labors and exploiting the lands, and the money goes to the politicians' pocket. That they don't ask, but of course there's a law exists, like they make really good law, but when it comes to the practice, so the people who are in power get the benefit, let's say corruption, bribery, get the bribery, and then give the license for operation, operate in that site. So the operations of the mining companies, and they exploiting the lands, and it's not only bad for the nature, also bad for the people who are living in that regions, because they don't recover that. It's not practice that the recovering the lands, you already dig the land, and instead of that, at least you have to plant a tree, or the people who are in that region have to how to say, require accountability from those companies and those people who gave the access for those mining operations, right? So those are the biggest challenges. And because it's, it generates a lot of CO2 emissions, and it disrupts the nature's, the eroding the land. And so the second factor is this, I would say, the weather disaster, climate change. So the people, herders and nomadic peoples who are living in that, in the countrysides, experience the climate change harshly. We were only talking about the air pollution issues in the people we live in the city, we're just complaining about such things, but in the countryside, it's the drought, because of the drought, there is no water in some regions, and animals are dying because of that, and especially in the vice versa in the winter, because of the heavy snowfall. It's like a we call it like a disant, which means like disaster, really, really cold winter. So animals like a free, when you in the night, the animal froze. Those are the effect, the negative impact of the natural climate change, the herders in my community experiencing. And the next one is, I would say, globalization and urbanization. Because of that, the people, the main income source is the animal, and then if they lose like their hundreds, thousands of animals in that harsh winter, we call it the natural disaster, they move to the capital city to look for a better living opportunity. So that's why they, the knowledge, the faiths, you don't have to use that knowledge. Practice it on a daily basis, because you're living in a sedentary, apartment house, and you don't have to move, you don't have to grass your animals. So another thing is, as part of the globalization and the technology use, for example, in the past, when I was a children, my grandparents used to tell me that they and their parents, their great grandparents, move one place to another, not by car, by their yak, camel, horse. They put everything, they unload all the their house and belonging stuff on the back of the camel and horse, so they don't emit any CO2. And because those heavy trucks erodes the road, it disrupts the grass, and then it's very hard to recover the new grass. It erodes. So in the past, people move using their animals. Now it's using the, for example,
Cars.
like to graze the animals, they use motorcycle. So
Mhm.
it's very, it's bad for the land.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
for the
So
growth in,
yeah, so in summary, you have challenges such as the state that allows interventions from companies
Mm-hmm.
is the second
Mm-hmm.
challenge, climate change, and how
Mm-hmm.
climate change is modifying the traditional ways of lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very interesting and severe challenges. I think, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is necessary to think about that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. And we have the final questions here about
Mm-hmm.
other general issues related to
Mm-hmm.
sustainability. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, have the community defined some social or communitarian rules and or institutions in order to achieve sustainability? So the question
Well,
here,
mhm.
rules and or institutions.
There is no specific rules, or institutions in order to achieve the sustainable social fabrics. So you mean the rules and regulations from the government or
No,
the community?
the community. Mhm,
Okay, there is no specific rules, anything, regulations, they create themselves. They
mhm,
don't generate new rules for them, it's already, um, like centuries after centuries, it's been practiced, it's like already format structure, I would say, standard. So you're just moving and one place another to looking for, better pasture lands, and the experiencing the knowledge you already have. For example, the traditions, that is friendly for the environment. So there is no need to generate new rules and forming new regulations.
Okay, so, but for example, if we speak about the intersection between religion and sustainability, may you see the ancestral religion, as a source of some kind of rules in order to regulate behaviors?
Exactly.
Something.
Yes, exactly. For example, I made some notes here. Let me see my notes here. Yes. For example, it's like a derived from the religious. You worship for the sacred sites, mountains, hills. You ask for them, better harvest, like a mild winter.
Mhm,
And and the elder people tell stories to their younger generations, grandsons, about, how to protect the land, how to respect the nature. What can you do? What is banned in terms of culture norm? For example, you know, stories are often about the spirits, for example, a tree has its own spirit. As I mentioned, the water has own spirit. So you can't, for example, you can't pee to the water. You can't throw trash to the water. You can't throw, let's say, fossil fuels, gas, milk to the water. And for example, you cannot throw out, hot water to the land. You cannot throw a hot ash to the land, because it's living thing. You can
mhm,
kill the animals, you can kill the species in the underground, and you are disrespecting the spirits of the land. That
mhm,
is, the source of our living. So something like that, the unwritten rules, I would say, unwritten
mm.
rules of the respecting the nature. This is kind of like small, like a, there's many. I just mentioned some of the examples. And for example, you can't kill animals, and because before you, for example, before you go for hunting, you can sacrifice for the god, and then like tell, asking approvals, like something like that, for to go to the mountains, and then you have to offer like a milk or alcohol, or offer the purest part of your dish, meal, to the sky, and asking approval, so that you can do hunting, but not, like it's only limited.
Okay, okay. And do you think that people within your community follow those unwritten rules that you mentioned, or do they transform and play with those unwritten rules?
Of course they do, but as I earlier mentioned, we live in, we've been living in our region for centuries after centuries. In last century, there's another ethnic minority migrated from another region, from Uyghur Xinjiang, from another country, Those people are, in terms of language, in terms of religion, they're very different from us. So those people are now have the authority of, the power, in terms of political power, when it comes to the distribution of the budget, the implementation of the policy, and, exercising the things. They have the power, but their notion, their perspective is different. So because of that, there's a kind of conflict, For example, they cut the trees, they kill animals, and their belief is not very, connected, close like us to the nature notion. So that's why there is a not, the citizens conflict, but, it's like mild version of the conflict. It's like going years after years, from like, like decades after decades. For example, we try to protect our nature, in order to, getting benefit from the nature, animals and offsprings, harvests. But on the other hand, the people who migrated newly to your land have the power, and then, treating, to causing harm to the nature. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
understand.
especially in this is the particular issue in my country, but in other regions, like they are, Mongolian dominated parts, they don't have such practice, that exploit the nature. For example, like the dead bodies, that there's a funeral, we don't build any like mansions for dead bodies, we don't build any like a stone graves and big things, because we see like like once you're buried, and then like you'll be part of the nature, and your souls goes, and then like there is no need to build a house for that dead body, like writing your name, like essentially not house, but like a pile of blocks, like doing like things. There is no need to exploit the nature and leave the mark on earth. But those Kazakh people in my region, when they graveyards, is it called graveyards, like you bury like people all together, cemetery. So they built like a stones and metals, how to say, blocks, it's like apartment blocks, they build big. So we see it's very unsustainable practice, damaging practice for environmental systems,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. And regarding this question, the second question, you said previously that the climate change is causing that several people from your community go to the cities in order to look for better lifestyles.
Job opportunity, yeah.
Exactly. And for that reason, maybe that situation is leading people to
And leave their
forgetting
place. Yeah.
exactly and forgetting their unwritten rules, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a vast majority of people now migrating to to the city,
Mhm,
seeking comfort, seeking
mhm.
better lifestyle, better, because it is, can you imagine, it is very hard. For example, like the cold climate is the biggest barrier. So, uh, and then the first reason is, those Kazakh dominated our land region, so you have no power, your voice is not heard at all. And when it comes to the distribution of the power and distribution of the money, and you don't benefit it at all, because if the people who represents if people who can represent you in the decision making position, they make a decision in favor of you know what I
Yeah,
mean. So because of that kind of unheard, unseen, like a lack of representation, they move another place, to take care, the their family, the better their life, they leave their region. So that's why they're uh, forgetting the knowledge is kind of fading, because they cannot exercise those kind of knowledge in city.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know, I know. Um, the next question is this: what is the role of women in these attempts to achieve sustainability in your community?
Well, as I earlier mentioned, er, women's role. Yeah, it's pretty similar with them. We don't, when it comes to sustainability, we don't segregate the genders, but the women's are let's say, let's think about this way. You're hunter-gatherer. Let's imagine you're in the hunter-gatherers era. The man goes to hunt animals, and woman stays home and then make meals. That is the place you teach your children, tell stories about how to respect the nature, how to live harmonious with nature. And then also they practice, when you make cooking, like as I earlier mentioned, you cannot throw hot water to the land, because it's living a thing. You can burn the soul, you can burn the spirit of the land, you can burn the animals living in the species, something like that. It's not a big thing, it starts from the small steps, step by step, bite size practice, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Start making foods, making fuels,
Mhm.
all those are meant to be respect the nature.
Yeah, of course. And those are tasks mainly developed by women in the community.
Yes, women who
Mhm,
are people in charge of doing such things, so
mhm.
they play a big role.
Yeah, exactly. They play a big role. And is this role recognized within the community by men, for example?
um it depends on the family, I would say.
Mhm,
Yeah, for example, what I remember is my grandfather was director of the school, and he, most of the time he um, does the administrative jobs in the town, small, the center of the town. And then my grandmother is the man, people who in charge of everything. There's a saying in my language, like when you go out, the women like have a lot of responsibilities and pressures when it comes to countryside lifestyle. So you go out and then you play men's role, and then you inside of the home you play woman's role. So they have like a double, do the dual roles, like it's yeah. And it's you asked to recognize it, right? Yeah, it depends on the family. For example, like it's kind of like male-dominated society. You respect the male, but like in these days, those kind of attitudes are changing because of those. The gender talk is very open, and people are aware of their rights now. And yeah, when their children are becoming more educated, they are started to recognizing and spreading the knowledge and information to and re-educating their parents, and there is the one most important thing is like unlearn. It's very hard to, it's easy to learn, but very hard to to forget the toxic the biases that you already instilled in your subconscious mind from your childhood, right? So they try to correct this toxic thoughts, biased thoughts that children's are, I would say children's are playing important role in terms of eliminating that kind of biased stereotypes.
Yeah, of course. Okay, maybe this next question was already answered, but
yeah,
but maybe if you can add something. Okay, the question is, what is the role of non-human beings, animals, plants, rivers, and so forth in these attempts to achieve sustainability in your community?
Okay, that is very interesting question. I really love this question, and I keep trying to answer through my own answer that I think connected to that question. So we see sky is a father, earth is a mother, the land, and in between everything is living things. You have to respect everything, and if you don't respect, your bad luck will follow you. You will get sick, suffer in some ways. It's like a karma thing. And so it's like a personifying, like animism, personifying every things in the nature has its souls and spirits. And let's see, relationship. And let's say, so where is my, and there's another and there's a thing of shamanism. Shaman is a person who can, we see this is like three universe. We're living in a three parallel universe. There's the above universe, it's a sky, and in between we're living now, and then the subterranean world, underworld. So heavenly world, and in between the world we're experiencing, and then the subterranean world. So, and those shamans is the interpreter, and who can, spiritually, who can travel within those spheres, within those three universe, and try to help correct what is, if you are suffering, let's say, and he goes down to earth and then asking, let these people, live a couple more of years, and then correcting the bad things, the negotiating with the bad spirits, something like that. And to be able to correct this, we have to respect, we have to worship the spirits, the souls, you know what I mean, offer them, sacrificing things like, sheep, and sacrificing meals, and appeasing if they are angry, the gods, the spirits are angry, they want to take people alive. If the people, let's say, made bad things, and bad luck, the person is suffering, their family is suffering income-wise or bad luck following them, and then they are sick. So the shamans, those spirits, can travel those above universe or the below universe, and negotiating the spirits and return you back, help you get out of from the sufferings.
Yeah, very interesting. And what is the role of shamans within the community, within human beings in the community?
Okay, it's a people like me, for example, and pure. In order to have to receive the spirits, I have to be very pure. For example, I've never done any bad sins. My body needs to be pure, and my soul needs to be pure, and then I need to be chosen by the spirits of the nature. So, and if I am designated one, the only purpose is not to make money, not to you can't use the high power, spiritual power, for your own good. You have to use it for the community's good. So you have to help people who are suffering. So it's like a cosmology comprises of like a division between upper worlds and earth and underworld, the darkness. So the people, the shamanism, like you need to practice some ceremony to be able to bring your spirits to your body, and then when your body in, like the spirits maybe hundreds years old, 300 years old, 400 years old. For example, when I was like at 12, 13 years old, there was the relatives shaman, and then after that, like she interprets what happened, after doing this travel, above universe and below universe, like, oh, this is what's happening. You can't do this way. For example, you can't take this job, for example, like fortune telling, if you take this job, this will thing happen. If you go to the travel this day, the bad luck will follow you. You're suffering because you did something wrong to that. You violated the natural rule, natural law, disrespected in some way without knowing it. So it's happening to you. So you can, this way you can correct, blah, blah, blah. Like it's like a meditation, not meditation, it's like a healer, people who have some unique power, who can connect to those gods, those spirits. Yes.
Yeah, they try to reconnect humans and non-human beings.
Natures, yeah.
Exactly, between the different worlds or universes. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting. Okay, and they advise people what to do in order to keep the balance, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they advise people what you can do, what you cannot do, why you're suffering, that tells you the reason why you're suffering. For example, like and there's another, the god for the fire, it's very important concept on god for the wind, every thing within the nature has its souls. Wind have soul. You have it, like for example, I also have the wind soul. So which if my wind soul is diminished of like a less powerful, then it has to be like I'm bad luck will follow me, and I'm doing bad in my exam, and I failed on everything I try, and income wise, something like that, for prosperity, health things, you have to if you are not doing really good in terms of your health, maybe it's because you violated somehow, or it's not because you or your fathers or grandfathers, they have disrespected the soul of the water, soul of the land, soul of the tree in some way. So that's why it not only happens for the person who violated those things, because it's like a generation. If your grandfather, father done bad things, you will be, pay off. I'm sorry. Yeah, That's why they try to, the karma will not be returned to me. It will come to my children and my descendants. That's why, I have to live I have to live harmonious. I have to be kind with nature, respect the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Okay.
kind of notion.
Yeah. And the final question, what is the role of economy, or economic processes in these attempts to achieve sustainability? Does the economy help or block sustainability endeavors within your community?
I would say neither of them, but because as I earlier mentioned, in terms of, economic, in favor of economic prosperity, but they allow, the mining sites to be exploited, exploit the extract the resources and then export it. So this, if it's doing in a proper way, it's okay, right? Recovering the land, it's okay. But in most cases, it's not done in a proper way, according to the law. So it's like I would say, yeah, in favor of economic processes, they are dismantling the sustainability practices in our community.
Okay, so
There is no support from the government recognizing their effort, to live, to protecting the nature, because those people are, experience the first-hand witness of the climate change, right? But those people are the frontier force to protect the nature. So, but their voice are not heard and their efforts are not recognized.
Yeah, so in general terms, the national economy, which is almost capitalist economy, if we can say that,
Yeah,
threaten those sustainability practice in your community.
exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
does the community have some alternative economies in order to face this problem?
Of course, I'm keep saying my community's problem. So the next thing is, aside from the natural resources, like uranium, coal, our second big Mongolia is the biggest, second biggest export product is Kashmir. We're number one exporters, the luxurious Kashmir in the world. So Kashmir is very expensive. So people tend to, keep goat instead of sheep. So goat is not very, goat is when we compare those animals, the benefit of the nature, the goat, exploits the land, the way they eat the grasses, exploiting them, and then like it tends not to grow the same, how to say, root eats the roots with the roots, and then they eat the technique, or how should I say, they eat the roots, and then like it's less, the land will be, when compared to if you graze the sheep in that particular region, it's going to be recovered next year, right? And if you graze the goat to there, it cannot be recovered. But many people prefer to raise, increase their number of Kashmir goats, because Kashmir is really expensive. So raising Kashmir would be economically help them, in economy wise, but it's not very sustainable for the nature. So it's like a big clash between do you need money, do you need money, or do you need to protect nature? But some people are trying to reduce their number, but still a lot of people, keep raising, especially those, I mentioned those Kazakh people, right? Those are not very practice sustainable lifestyles. So those people like grow a lot of goats. They don't care about the land because, you know, they recently migrated to this country, and then like they don't have a sense of ownership to the land. Because our community has the sense of ownership because they lived there like let's say like 100 centuries, like 90 centuries, 80 centuries. So they want to keep their land, you know, intact, you know, the next to, and then for the next generations.
Yeah, yeah. So there is a kind of self-struggle between, okay, I need money, but I want to protect nature. What should I do in order?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. That is like a big, they're torn between, you know, but this, if you are, when you are hungry, you don't think about the tomorrows, you know, your future, right? You only, you know, need to satisfy your today's need, right?
Mhm.
This is the basic big barrier for them.
Okay,
If you are
okay, yeah.
hungry, you can't think about the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course. So for that reason, it is necessary to reach the support from state in order to
Yeah,
avoid those kind of
exactly.
clashes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course.
exactly.
Yeah,
But the
okay.
thing is, it's not very, you know, they like big picture. They need to think it about in a big picture, and you know, instead of, you know, today's, at least, you know, make it, you know, the extracting the mining, you know, in a proper, in a sustainable way, and recover the lands, mining lands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, Gigi, I think we have speak about different things. We have covered all the questions, and thank you very much for your deep knowledge about the community, Tuban community, and their practices about sustainability. All is very clear for us, a new notion about sustainability. And of course, I will share with you the final outcomes if in my story map. Thank you very much.
Okay, that would be awesome. Like, please do share with me. I would happy to share with my community. Yeah, and please keep doing the great work. And with my limited knowledge and experience in this area, yeah, I'm happy if it could help your work. Yeah, in some way.
Thank you very much.
Okay.